and then joining me today is Cobb La La La.
How's it going?
Pretty good. And we are off already. No time to talk about the other interesting things yet.
We do want to let you know that this is going to be simulcast in Dutch on Speed Gaming Dutch channel. If we can get a link for that in chat.
Yes, it should be. Yes, it will be. So, anyways, we are off, and we're. What weapon are we gonna find on Uncle today? We have one of 7 weapons. It's not the sword. It's the hammer.
So yeah, so as a runner, you know, that's one of the ones you want to see. Gives you a lot of utility going forward with progression, but also you're almost guaranteed to get bombs before the back of escape because there's no limit to the hammer you can use.
Yeah, exactly. I've had a hammer seed where I didn't get bombs, but that's because, you know, you have one of the seeds where it either just hops over all the bomb drops in the prize pack pool, or, you know, eventually you just stop farming. You kill everything on the way, and you should get one, but sometimes you still don't.
Of course, now that I said that, I did have a race in which I had hammer, and I did not get a bomb, even though I farmed for like a minute.
Exactly. You still just kill what's on the way, and you deal with it if you don't get it. In the meantime, of course, that's sort of what we're going to see here for a little bit. We're just going to run through here. We're going to one-shot pretty much everything around here with the hammer, as long as they don't block our hammer.
Which is definitely an interesting weapon, because if you're not used to it for killing enemies, the hitbox on it is very strange. It seems to be larger when you are, or at least more effective when you're facing down or to the sides, and you have a little more trouble hitting things when facing up.
And the more general statement, of course, is also about the fact that the hammer is offset in its hitbox. When you're facing the side, it always hits near the bottom of your sprite, and then when you're facing up or down, it hits to Link's left. Of course, Link is left-handed, unless you're playing Skyward Sword. We're not going there right now. Of course, nice 2 hammer hits there. No problems. You'll very rarely see people bother using pot strats there unless they're low on health by the time they get there. And that's more because they want a health heart from the pot. So they take a small time loss to get the heart. Whereas, you know, almost every other weapon that's not the bow, you'll see the players just pick up pots. Even sometimes the bow, they'll still pick up the pots instead.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, especially with some of the configurations like bomb strats. You know, some of the strats involve you taking the hit from the bomb, so runners will do everything they can to keep their hearts at full.
Anyways, on we go. Looking fairly fast. 4 minutes back to just before the throne room. Not a bad time here. As we push the mantle aside, and on we go into the sewers portion of our escape. Of course, anyone not familiar with the base game, this area normally is a complete dark room until you get the lamp. Now, of course, the lamp is given to you in the base game, but because we didn't want to force everyone into getting the lamp in the first 5 items in the randomizer, the randomizer developers, of course, just made it so that we have a light cone for this area, and it does continue through the entire game to make sure that this bomb wall we've been talking about, that neither players have got a bomb drop for yet, that you're not locked out of it. Oh, there's a bomb drop, though.
Oh yeah, those snakes have 4 bomb drop in their drop package. That's nice.
Yeah, 4 bombs is exactly what you want to find in here, because that gives you enough to do Kakariko and enough to, without having to go, and as well as the bomb wall. 4 bombs is perfect. g3rd0 did find 1 bomb finally, so he's at least not going to have to come back here for whatever's here.
Yeah, and that's a much bigger deal. On the way to Kakariko, he's going to have the opportunity to check what the crab is dropping today, to do some different tier tree pulls. I can talk.
Yep. So we'll see exactly what he finds along that path. Of course, shield's never being entirely awful unless you're one of those people that really likes to reduce every single possible lag frame. They do a little bit, they don't do much, but they're there.
Did you see Gordo's escape time? It was like sub 550, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, the mantle moved aside. He gained movement after the mantle gained aside about 554.
Even though they had the hammer, I mean that's still pretty insane.
Yeah, without the mirror of the boots, you don't get much faster than that. The main difference would have been if you found a bomb faster. Could have saved even a couple more seconds.
Okay, so that first pull only gave green rupees, which is not what he's looking for.
No, but the
Lumberjack has that bomb, so
bad.
Yeah. What I imagine g3rd0 will likely do is try and kill the bird up here without taking any damage and check the next tree pole.
Yeah. And we'll jump down. Of course, yeah, as chat say, oh, there's a moon pearl.
That's nice. We
might see a fake flippers today. The fake flippers has been sort of falling out of favor with a lot of runners lately, and I think that's largely because of the fact that it's not quite as. A lot of runners are sort of valuing following the logic in the current version of the game. Sequence breaks not having quite as much of a all or nothing to them as they have in previous versions.
Right, and I think in this version, finding an item behind a sequence break can actually hurt you.
Yeah.
Because you can get confused as to items that you're looking for and where they could have been prior to you sequence breaking.
Exactly. And I've cast a race that had that, where they never found the flippers, and then we found 4 items locked behind Ice Palace. And we still needed the flippers at some point, so, you know, it was one of those really odd seeds where both players did the same sequence break and it took us an extra 40 minutes to find the flippers.
So I like what g3rd0 did here. He didn't find bombs in the woods. So instead of walking all the way down to the bomb hut, buying bombs, walking all the way back up, he saved and quit and went and got some guaranteed bombs coming from the south. And he's maybe lost only like 10 or 15 seconds on that at most. Probably even less.
The only reason I don't really like in this situation is because we actually had a decent amount of seeds, plus we know we have a red rupee crab. So spending the 50 rupees on the bombs wasn't going to be a huge deal. And he's still going to spend 50 rupees on bombs, of course. Unless there's a whole bunch of bombs in here, but from between what we've seen on Yagamoth and on g3rd0, that's just not the case.
Yeah, I think. I don't think the cost was going to bother him. I think he didn't want to walk the distance. Oh, and we have Bo in the well.
That's interesting. So, of course, with Eastern Palace being a 5/6 crystal, that may put a little bit of onus onto just going and doing Eastern Palace. I don't think it does it quite yet, because until you actually have logical access to Armos Knights, there's not really a good reason to skip South Hyrule. And once again, with what we know that we're not going to find the lamp in the rest of Kakariko here, so I would expect that we're probably going to see South Hyrule before the South Hylia check, before we see the Eastern play.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there.
That being said, it is a play either player could make.
Absolutely. I think that people, when they tend to make plays out of Kakariko Village that are not, oh, I'm going down to Mini Moldorm, they're plays that their opponent wouldn't make. Like, let's say they got a book and they decide to go from the dam to desert.
Yeah.
They can go to Eastern later.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason you'd really, and you don't really want to do too much sequence breaking type thing. So, for instance, if you have the gloves, there's lots of people that the gloves in either the mirror or the hook shot at this point. You have access to Death Mountain. You can't get there without the lamp, technically, or the flute. Now we don't have the gloves right now, so this is sort of irrelevant. But it's one of those plays that I've seen a lot. The Death Mountain play, when you have access to the east side, can be a huge play to make. Once you have the ability to do it, even if it's not in logic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is the more favored of the sequence breaking is lamp sequence breaking rather than fake flippering.
Nothing on Lake Hylia Island. Good to know, Yagamoth. But Yagamoth is doing that Eastern Palace play we just talked about.
Just to make us look bad, I'm pretty sure.
Hey, I called it out as a possibility. You can only look so bad for acknowledging what the players could do.
Now, at the same time, when we're talking about these two runners, that just stellar caliber runners, they are not, even though some of the dark rooms in Eastern are a little tricky, it's not going to bug them at all.
Yeah, I personally can do the first two dark rooms without basically any indication of where I am. I've gotten to that point. So these runners, I'm sure, can do something fairly similar. And you have the hammer, if nothing else, regardless.
Right, and like you said, it's a crystal.
It's crystal.
They're going to have to go in there at some point. Why not get it out of the way?
Yeah, the only real benefit to leaving it for later is if you get all the way to the fact that you can also clear pod at the same time, and you can do them both at the same time. That's the only thing that's going to save you time for saving Eastern for later. And that's well, I guess you could also just get things like boots or a sword or something, but those are smaller little things that all come down to execution. Oh, well, we didn't get to see that item was. Alright, what do we have in the cave here? Of course, we're not finding a heck of a lot right now. Technically, neither the bow nor the hammer do, like, anything for us for logic at the moment.
Oh, wow, it looks like, and maybe I just didn't see this earlier. It looks like that chest that we didn't see was the flute, maybe?
Oh, okay. I believe in our tracker. I think he's sort of got. I think he's keeping a real tight eye on Yagamoth because of the frame skips. So most likely accurate. His self tracker has it marked. Okay. Now, of course, part of the reason we were talking about this is there's a decent chance that Yagamoth may end up making the same play down to South Hylia after this. Fairly decent play. Now, getting that flute is a large enough one. We do still need to find... our big items right now that we want to find would either be the hookshot or the mirror to grant access to all of Death Mountain, or the glove to grant access to Dark World.
Now, what's interesting about him finding that flute in Eastern is he actually saved time by going to Eastern first, because he's going to go activate that flute and go right to 7.
True. Yeah, saves a little bit of time. That one's definitely in the scale of like 10 seconds type of thing. But 10 seconds may be the difference in the race. You never know.
When you're talking about runners of this caliber, absolutely. I mean, well, we're on the second week of the brackets, and there have been a number of matches that have been within 3 seconds of each other and had to be re-raced.
Yeah, definitely. And I've also seen, ooh, Ether. Hello, Ether. It's the one frame we happen to get. Hey, look, there's the flute. Didn't see it there. That being said, of course, the big chest was in Logic, but the Ether medallion is not in Logic, and whatever's on Armos Knights, if there is anything on Armos Knights, is not in Logic.
Right, absolutely, but at least they won't, you know, they've dipped in here. You don't want to dip a second time.
Yeah, exactly. For runners of this caliber, you just do part of this play is going, I know it's not in sequence, but once again, if you know your dark rooms and you find a fire rod, you never need the lamp. Period.
I'm
These runners.
actually really sad that Yagamoth is skipping frames, because he got through that dark room so quickly without a sword, without something to guide him. And you have to kill a specific enemy to get a key from them, and they're blocked by other enemies.
Yeah, and typically you'll see most runners do the strategy fairly similarly. Of basically they follow the bottom wall and they shoot straight up to kill the popos, I believe they're called. I can't remember. Anyways, the Tangalas, and then of course and then they shoot the actual Igor, and then they wait for him to move and then shoot him one more time with the bow to kill him. That was interesting. I don't know where that enemy that g3rd0 should have been able to shoot was, because he shot 2 arrows and neither one hit.
Yep, so Yagamoth gonna go activate his flute.
All right. And there is our flute. We won't really get to see it, but it's happening. There we go. g3rd0 has done the... Well, where's the key? So g3rd0 is going to have to leave without killing Armos Knights because he is out of arrows. And that's a big problem. Hook shot on the sick kid. Well, now we're going to Death Mountain. Who needs to go to Hylia?
Absolutely, you know, and g3rd0 didn't find anything over there, so...
Oh, we are going to South Hylia, though.
Okay, then Yagamoth isn't going to find anything over there.
No, we're gonna be pretty much right in the same place here. The only difference, of course, is that Armos Knight kill for Yagamoth is going to come in as just a nice time save and to hold over for a while.
Yeah, luckily for g3rd0, we're talking about, like, not a huge difference. It's not like this was Trinex that he didn't kill. It's only going to take him a minute at most to get back to Armos.
Yeah, and there's a decent chance he even gets to route it in, of course, with the pod play, but we'll see. I mean, this is part of why the hookshot led him to South Hylia, because the fact that the hookshot's just such a nice weapon to use on the Moldorms. Might even be one of the best weapons for that cave. Because there's no ammo, it has a large hitbox, and it one-shots them.
Definitely agree with you there.
Sword beams are up there, because sword beams you can fire off very quickly, and though they two-shot, they're long range.
Now, g3rd0 opting not to rescue the uncle, or I'm sorry, not the uncle, the old man, which would give him a save point.
Yeah, most players at this level, you see rescue the old man just because it's basically free and because it opens up that save quit point that you want to use. But yeah, flippers. g3rd0 sees the flippers and he's getting the flippers.
Absolutely, and it looks like he's going to set up for this bomb jump, which is probably one of the trickiest in the game. But looks like he's going to make it look really easy.
And someone calling out, no, good thing no one fake flippered. We don't know yet. Maybe it's not a good thing we fake flippered. Maybe we would have found a sword or two with the fake flipper, and we would have been an even nicer way up here. You never know.
Right, yeah. I mean, your main disadvantage with fake flippering is, let's say the flippers were buried way deep in the seed or not even required. Then you've spent time doing something that you weren't going to be able to do. There's no items there.
Yeah, there's our Dark World access. Found the gloves.
Now, what g3rd0's really hoping for is the second set of gloves, and he can knock Death Mountain out completely right now, with the exception of Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Unless he gets real lucky with everything else he finds, but that's just not gonna happen. Blue Mail is nice, though. Blue Mail's always nice. Silver arrows are possibly nicer. I don't know why I said possibly. Silver arrows are nicer. Period. Yagamoth trying the bomb jump, but doesn't quite make it all the way. He might just save and quit at that point. I'm not actually sure what's faster from the fall. It looks like that's what he did.
Oh, I didn't see. If he fell down the hole after getting the flippers, yeah, it's faster to save and quit.
Meanwhile, we do see the Cane of Burna on the floating island. I don't think either of these runners are ever going to pick that up. Too much time for an item that doesn't really do anything except for lag the game for most runners of this level.
Yeah, because they're already approaching close to 11 hearts, which is the bare minimum that you need for Spike Cave, which is the only thing that you could consider the blue cane for. Yeah, so, yeah, I agree with you. I don't see them getting that item.
So g3rd0 had a mini heart attack there as he saw the small key downstairs. And was immediately relieved to find the big key upstairs. Because of course, if we had the big key in its vanilla location, we were stuck, not finishing Tower of Hera. Granted, if it was a pendant, we wouldn't mind that right now because it would say go do Dark World instead. But since this is a crystal, we want to get it done right now.
Yep, absolutely. Multiple climbs up Death Mountain. Sap a whole bunch of time.
Take a couple hits there. Of course, we have to fight Moldorm with the hammer. That's not really a huge problem because the hammer is actually a preferred weapon for a lot of runners. Definitely over the fighter sword and sometimes over the master sword even. So the only problem is you can't hold out your sword to protect you from Moldorm. as you can with the if you do have a sword. I wasn't counting items, but chat's saying we still haven't found an item yet, so item in Hera Basement, ahoy.
Oh, that's a bad feeling. However, they're going to have to come back to do the Dark World items, so they can route that in if they want to.
Well, and it feels even less bad knowing that you pretty much had to come all the way up here at this point anyways. You didn't have many other options. If you find a fire source in one of those few options that were left, namely like Agana's Cave or something, then you go, well, that sucks. And then it really only matters if you then have to come back here and find the item anyways. Otherwise, just an item check we don't have to do that's like 30 seconds. And of course, one last hope for Titan's Mitts. They're probably not going to be here, but you know, neither of the runners are going to complain if they are. Then after this, we'll probably see either the Hype Cave play or the Village of Outcasts area play. Nice sword.
Yeah, it wasn't the mitts, but about to venture into the Dark World, sword's a nice thing to have.
Exactly. Did we get to see the old man item? I wasn't paying attention to Yaga at the time.
I did not notice it.
Either way. We're getting the Hype Cave play.
Apparently it was a piece of heart.
Okay. Crystal's in the bottom left there. Or pendants, sorry, in the bottom left. Green one specifically on Swamp Palace, which is always interesting because Swamp Palace requires so many items. Granted, we have all the items except for the mirror at this point. Yeah, we have the hammer, the flippers, and the hookshot, which are the other items you'd need. So we have everything except for the mirror to do Swamp Palace, which will make it an interesting dip if we do find the mirror in the near future. Let's see where which way g3rd0 decides to go. Is he going right? He is. Yes. Couple nice things in the Hype Cave. It's always nice. The fire shield will not, by any means, require. It's just nice for some incidental damage blocking on some fireball enemies around the place. Powder could be useful.
Yeah, it does open Magic Bat for sure, and there's some dungeons that it's nice to be able to produce some fairies.
Yeah, powder, of course, the most useful of the fetch quest items because it has that ulterior use. Boots on the pyramid.
Oh wow, that big.
Could be a huge routing difference. The boots, while not a definitive difference maker, do save you, even without being useful, save you something like 2 to 3 minutes on the hour, depending on how well you use them.
Yep, and these runners will use them quite well, so hopefully Yagamoth takes the same route, but if he goes over to Kakariko, it's going to be good 15 minutes at the earliest that he'd make it back over that way.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely a decent chance for a huge divergence here. But that being said, the fact that it also adds check location can backfire on occasion as well. For instance, if Yagamoth finds the mirror before he finds the boots, he may get a slightly better routing of the boots if g3rd0 decides to do the boots locations probably right now. Actually, I guess you can't do the King's Tomb right now regardless, so that's not as huge a deal. It's not going to leave Graveyard Ledge out on its own. But no, Yagamoth's going to pick them up right now as well, so no problems there. And there's the Titans, man.
Oh, wow. They have so many options right now. Pulling out the flute. What are we going to see? Oh, he's going straight up to Death Mountain. He wants to see what's up there.
And he wants to apparently save the old man. I'm not sure whether this is... this is probably more of a... He didn't want to do this without the sword earlier. I would imagine. I don't see why he wouldn't have done this the first time otherwise. And I think this is just a... I got a sword. This is going to be super easy. And there's even more checks I can do up here. Let's just do it. Yagamoth, on the other hand, instead of doing Catfish, is going for the pod check. Actually, pod clear. What am I saying? We can do this. It has some dark rooms, of course, but once again, at this level, these runners don't really care about those dark rooms. They just navigate them anyways. Turtle room will be a bit of a pain. Of course, we don't have a fire source to light a torch in the turtle room either, so it will be a completely blind turtle room if we do not find something to illuminate it in Palace of Darkness. But with 11 hearts in green mail, and blue mail, or sorry, red mail, is it red mail?
I think they're on blue mail.
Yeah. Blue mail. We're gonna go with blue mail. Then yeah, it's gonna be... Shouldn't be too bad. And do we get the hookshot glitch? Yes, we do. Pod is bow locked, but of course that doesn't really say much because we had the bow so quickly.
Gerdo not finding much in the Super Bunny Cave, but probably going to be getting a medallion check.
Yep.
And then Hookshot Cave.
Ether, so we don't need to find another medallion this seed. Oh, we might need to find one more medallion this seed. We might need to find Bombos. And the reason for finding Bombos would be if Ice Palace... Or sorry, is Ice Palace... Yeah, no, Ice Palace is a crystal.
He just found the Cane of Samara.
That... Interesting.
And the fire
rod.
Oh.
Well, never mind. We don't need Bombos.
Oh, but he does not... What he does not have is the mirror.
Is the mirror. Yep.
Yeah.
Are you making a Spike Cave play here?
Money that he would have gone into Turtle Rock had he had the mirror.
Yeah, I would assume so. So we've got a fairy, okay. So yeah, so we should just be able to run this through. We'll sacrifice the fairy, I assume. Unless he has another potion. I don't know what was in the other bottle. Yeah, just letting the fairy trigger.
You mean he didn't want to wait for the blue cane to do this?
No, he really did not want to wait for the blue cane to do this. It's surprising, I know. And we get a hammer yump. Unfortunately, a failed hammer yump.
Yeah, it looked like it was set up right. I just, you gotta set it up really quickly.
Yeah. And I know Yagamoth is experienced in setting these tricks up, so... I'm a little surprised we're doing this on a non-sequence break, non-key sanity seed. It doesn't... It helps your roading a little bit, but... Great, actually, you know what? We don't have the mirror. I take that back. Not having the mirror makes this significantly more important. Having the mirror and not having the lamp.
Especially since you're navigating in the dark. Which, it definitely is impressive. A lot of runners know how to navigate this maze in, front to back. But doing it backwards is definitely a challenge.
Well, then there's actually some of the NMG runners who are actually more familiar with the backwards pathing of the maze because of the fact that even though they do it with a lamp, that's what they do in NMG. They go backwards from the two chests. Two chests, or they only get the first one? I can't remember.
They just get the first one.
They just get the first one? Yeah, okay. Well, that's easy then. Never. Yagamoth not quite getting the strip to run up the rupees, but I don't think that really matters. We're at 1,000 rupees, basically. We don't really need more at this point. So we know that this chest here is going to be a... Or actually, I'm not sure what we know, because I don't think he's checked the front. Yeah, there we go. It's the ice rod.
Oh, wow. So here becomes the issue. If g3rd0 finds the mirror pretty quickly, all of the items right now for him are saying, go to Turtle Rock, there's something there.
Yeah.
But the ice rod is not it.
Yeah. Now that being said, until we find the mirror, it's not quite as nice, because we're going to have to make 2 trips up Death Mountain. Now that might just be required, though. Actually, I guess you don't, because if you just go into Dark World at the top... Interesting, yeah.
Oh,
so
that's a good point. Yeah, they don't need the mirror. Yeah, but they may not. They may not want to go in without the mirror because of
Mimic Cave.
Yeah,
but that's a different issue. But no, so it, and actually, so I'll just show that as a general thing. If you're routing Death Mountain and you're thinking, you know, if I can get Turtle Rock access while I'm up here, that'd be cool. You don't have the mirror yet. Make sure you go up to Turtle Rock and open Turtle Rock before you jump down and check those chests. It loses almost no time if it loses time, and it, of course, if you do have the Turtle Rock medallion and you do want to do Turtle Rock, it's going to be much faster than climbing the mountain twice. Here goes Yagamoth with the fun of dealing with turtles in the dark. See how long it takes them to do this. I think one of those got poked instead of hit with the hammer. Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, wow. I knew that it would kill them, but I was like, well, but you're still going to have some left. He knocked all 6 in, like, the first second. Yeah,
he basically did the NMG strat. He just muscle memoried through the NMG, sort of flip over all the turtles, and then just ethered them. And of course, I assume we'll see a silver arrow pull out here because there's no other useful thing to kill this boss. And even got it at the right time. He was doing the tail animation, which just worked out nicely to freeze him in place.
Yeah, you know, so if you have something like the tempered sword, it may be a little quicker to hit with 4 slashes rather than menuing, but yeah, with a fighter sword, no.
And we're almost in no mode here. Almost. There's still one more item required, I think, that we need to find before we say that. Just one, I think. One of 2 to make it even better.
Yep, I believe you're right. You know, and it'd be interesting if one of them finds one and the other finds the other, you know, because either the mirror or the book is going to gain you access to Desert Palace.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so it's definitely interesting here.
Now, technically, you need the lamp to be in go mode. But for these runners, if the lamp's their last item, they aren't searching for it.
Yeah. Well, and really, by the definition what I consider the definition of go mode, which is I don't need to open anything else except for what I need to literally complete a dungeon. That it's go mode once you're not opening chests looking for stuff anymore, right? That's go mode. You're going as fast as you can.
Oh, nice. Yagamoth's gonna get a water walk glitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering why he wasn't fluting, but yep.
Yeah.
This will get him his Zora check a lot quicker. Now, I believe he'll have the water walk back when he comes out of here, or no?
I'm not sure. Maybe the shallow water actually just does break it in the case of you already have flippers, which would have been the case that just happened there. The shallow water actually broke the water walk. That's probably actually what happened. Yep. The shallow water actually broke the water walk. Because he went back to a walking state and then ended up... I don't know. That's weird.
Oh, yeah. So when you see the... I think that when you see the water walk, that it doesn't break it, that's because you're also fake flippering at the same time.
Exactly, yeah. So interesting. Sora not being the play that we needed. Of course, it's not surprising when we're one item from being able to complete the game. Of course, both players more than one item away, but for us, we're one item away from knowing that we're how to complete this seed. g3rd0 did first 4 and is out. Not too surprising on Pendant Thieves Town.
I really hate Pendant Thieves Town, because that's just... The dungeon requires only Dark World access to complete, and hammer for one chest that may not even be a chest, have anything in it.
Yeah, Yagamoth is turning around immediately going for King's Tomb. Did g3rd0 ever do King's Tomb, actually? Oh, book!
Oh,
there it is!
There it is.
So g3rd0 is his pod dip away? Was it in pod?
Ice Rod was in pod, yeah. It was in the, what do they call that? The highway or something? I don't know.
The Harmless Hallway.
There it is.
What do you guys mean now rip Pedestal? Pedestal was already ripped because the only way that we were going to get Pedestal is if we had to complete Swamp Palace, and the mirror was another one of the items that we could find. Silly chat.
They're so greedy with that Pedestal. I mean, jeez.
Oh, sorry, I know what they wanted now. They wanted book into tablet swords. They wanted that silliness.
Yeah, you know what? I guess if you want to get super technical, we aren't quite in no mode. We do got to find one more sword.
Yes.
But they will go into Ganon Tower with a fighter sword and find the big key and then just keep going until they find a sword.
Well, and especially when you have dungeons like Turtle Rock still left, because Turtle Rock you pretty much have to full clear anyways. Actually, I guess that's really it. You have to full clear Desert Palace as well. To some degree, you have to find the big key. So, we'll see exactly how those two dungeons turn out. Of course, Ice Palace, you don't really need to look. You don't really need to look too hard for. Skull Woods, you don't need to look very hard for. So Yagamoth will be kicking himself for not having opened Turtle Rock here in about the next 15 seconds. Because he wasn't expecting to find the Cane of Samaria and the Fire Rod in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, now he, on the other hand, may go right back up Death Mount. Yep. He's gonna go.
Well, this isn't a guarantee because this may just be the flute play.
That is true.
This is just where you save and quit to, but he is going back. Yes. We are not surprised about that. Just you don't want to make that call just on where he saves and quits to, because once you have the flute, that's just where you save it. That's just where you save and quit to.
Right, and he's not worried about Mimic Cave because he knows that that progression is not there because Mirror's go mode for him.
Yeah, exactly. With the mirror being the mirror could be go mode. Yeah, exactly. So.
Right, and if he has the mirror, he doesn't.
If he has the mirror, he doesn't need to check Mimic. The Mimic Cave's not going to be frig. Words, please. The mirror's not going to be a Mimic Cave because obviously every item is accessible in these randos at the moment. And then we know where the book is, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and while he doesn't know where the book is, he knows that even if it's in Mimic Cave, he doesn't care because the mirror's going to go mode him anyways.
Meanwhile, Girdle's going to show us what's in Desert, so this could be interesting. It's going to delay his quote-unquote go mode a little bit, but as we said, since we're still looking for a sword, that's not actually going to be an awful thing, most likely. Especially if, like, say the big chest here actually does have a sword in it. This could be huge, actually.
Yeah, you know, and truth be told, finding the mirror is not a bad thing, because, you know, if you get to, like, you know, if you have red mail and you're in Ganon's Tower and you find the key in Randomizer room, well, it's not easy to kill yourself.
No, you're better off just literally going back to the big chest room at that point. No, we're gonna see some item checks here. We'll see what goes on here. Oh, sorry, Guru already has a sword. Yeah, I'm silly.
Yeah, I think he did a blacksmith's check, which is a very strong play because he did it without a mirror. So
yeah,
Yagamoth probably won't ever find that sword.
Yeah, probably not.
Unless maybe he goes into Ganon's Tower, goes all the way through, and doesn't find the sword. However, now we can say to chat, Pedestal absolutely 100% dead.
Yeah. Yeah, no super silliness there. So now the question will come down to what is the sword difference gonna manifest itself as the rest of the race? Because that's hard to say for sure. Because we could be looking at a sword difference the whole way through, or maybe Yagamoth finds a sword on Laser Bridge that Gerdo's not going to find, or who knows. Or maybe we end up with 2 more swords in Ganon's Tower, and we end up with Tempered versus Butter Sword, and it's sort of irrelevant that way too. There's lots of interesting little things there. And so, yeah, so Yagamoth is... Well, right, Yagamoth's not in go mode yet. Never mind. I was gonna say, what? I'm like, why would Yagamoth check this? Oh, right, still needs the book. Still needs the book. Or the mirror.
Yep, commentators are in go mode, however, neither of the runners are just yet.
Yeah. Because Vanilla Big Key location is one location that you probably would skip if you were in go mode, even if you were still sort of searching for that extra sword. Because other than that, you pretty much have to full clear the rest of Turtle Rock to make sure you don't miss any other keys.
Yeah, but, you know, with 4 items on Laser Bridge and Yagamoth's obvious mastery of the NMG strats, he might check those for a sword. Obviously, he might check it for the sword, you know, if not, of course, the mirror in the book that he's looking for.
Yeah.
Because he's going to do it very quickly and without worry of death.
It's a high-density check. Very high-density check with very little time cost when you're efficient at it.
Right, whereas I would have to go open the safety door, die 3 times, that sort of thing.
To be fair, he might still open the safety door just by the virtue of he's on 1 laser hit and a fall into a pit for... Well, now he's not. But he's still very close to, like, he's two laser hits and a fall in a pit for a death point, so we'll see. Well, and you can just find the riot shield. I can just walk there and just not even worry about it. And he finds a sword! Right where we said he might. And that was there wasn't a key on Laser Bridge either, was there? Like, there was all keys before Laser Bridge?
Yeah, the key was 3rd chest.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then. So it's very possible that g3rd0 does end up finding that one then. Sort of as a counter to what I was talking about before. Because if for some reason he does decide to check start from the bottom, he might find that sword. Or we might find that our runners do end up on equal swords as they finish this seed.
Yeah, now g3rd0 does have this time waste here of having to finish up Eastern. Oh, he found a lamp!
Ah, so he did.
I don't even know where that happened.
Yeah, I'm focusing on Yagamoth because it's always about the turtle rock dips. He also has a half magic as well, which is also an interesting little thing. Now with silver arrows already found, probably not going to manifest in a real difference here. But it is, of course, of note. Surprised Yagamoth hasn't switched back to the hammer here, but... For most players of this caliber, just hitting the center section with... Ooh!
Oh!
Does he still have a fairy? He does.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm pretty surprised he's not using hammer strats.
Because I think this is... Because it literally doubles the hits you need. 5 hammer hits versus 10 Master Sword hits. Or 5 Master Sword spins, or, you know, so on and so forth.
My only thought is that I believe Yagamoth has a fair bit of running in NMG low percent. So no, you would use the hammer there too.
Yeah, I would assume so. And now, where are we going, Yagamoth?
Oh,
probably for a slow
going
here. I imagine we're just basically gonna pop off Skullwoods and Ice Palace real fast, whichever order we decide to do them in. Then the question is, does he find the mirror along the way for one of those, or does he find or how long does it take him to find the book?
Right, but he's got to find it soon, because g3rd0 pretty shortly here is going to be in go mode.
Yep.
And he's going to be able to do Turtle Rock and go straight to Ganon's Tower. He's going to do all the other crystals before he goes up to Turtle Rock.
Yes, yeah. So both players still have a mountain climb ahead of them, but g3rd0 is going to have pretty much guaranteed full health when he does it. g3rd0 just entering the wrong door there the first try. To be fair, I think he could have skipped this chest, but you would never do that. Because any chest in this place can be the big key, and you just don't want to skip the big key, because that's really what one of the big things you're looking for. And it was the big key. Okay, I couldn't remember which dungeon item it was.
Yep, so now that he has the big key, he's probably going to skip the vanilla big key location and just watch his key count, you know, when he finishes up the dungeon to see if he needs to come back in for an item, but we both know he will not be doing that. And this is going to be a fast seed time because we're going to have about... What are we... Oh, okay, I see what he's doing here.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm sure he'll come back in afterwards.
Yeah, he's going to say, well, there's a chance that the ice rod is on Helmasaur, so why not just do that? If I don't get it, I'm not losing any time.
Yeah. You do have those odd situations where if he'd only gotten one small key there, I'd go, you're being silly, but he did get two small keys on the right side there, so this worked. Now, of course, it is possible to get only one small key on the right with the first chest having been a non-small key, and you're forced to go all the way through that right side path again. Then this play is not worth it. But that's not the case in this situation. So instead, we're going to use this sort of as like a free mirror back to the start of the dungeon after we're done. That basically makes the hammer jump less important, as he'll be able to route this sort of the reverse way, and he'll get to the harmless hellway actually fairly quickly and rule that out, and get into go mode real fast after this.
Yeah, he's going to save time by not hammer jumping.
He's already planning to save and quit after this, basically. Down goes the turtle, gives us our 20 rupees. Yagamoth is full cleared Skull Woods, and now, so we should see it. So Yagamoth is going to go to Ice Palace. g3rd0 will hopefully re-enter this dungeon and find the ice rod in the near future. Perfect. And with this, unless Yagamoth finds the mirror on cold... Well, actually, no. He'll probably full clear ice, right? So we'll see exactly how this plays out.
Yeah, I mean, the choices he's making are not wrong choices. But it's not working out for him, and I mean, I guess he could find the mirror. We still don't know where that is, but it's more and more time that he's losing to g3rd0, who is about to just go mode it.
Yeah.
He's doing it to mess with me, I'm pretty sure. But that was a really strong bomb jump. Yeah. I don't even think he menued.
So,
yeah.
We'll see what we...
I gotta watch that back, but I seem to think he did not menu buffer that at all.
And I don't even know how to do the trick, so, you know, I'm not even gonna... I'm barely qualified to comment on it and say that it's really hard. at least really precise. It's probably more accurate.
Yeah, you know, it's a double Y pixel. Perfect. The bomb has to be on the perfect Y pixel, and you have to be on the perfect Y pixel. There's some room on the X axis, but yeah, it's not easy for the amount of time you have to pull it off.
Yeah, so we should see a bomb jump here still, I imagine. Yes, we are going to see that. Nice spin setup there. Got 1 pixel down. Nice bomb jump.
So g3rd0 probably, well, g3rd0's going to be fluting to 8.
Yeah, to Ice Palace as well, yeah.
But he's not going to have to full clear it, so it's likely that he may even finish. He may be in Cold Stare at the same time that Yagamoth is.
Yeah, if not before. Probably not before, but if we'd had a small key, Yagamoth would probably be right on par, but without the small key, it takes a little bit longer to do all this. We are just doing the jump down strats. I was wondering what we'd see from him. You see a lot of runners actually do a bomb jump there to jump across that small hole. We may also just see a skip of the rest of the dungeon. I don't think so. Oh, it looks like that's what we're seeing, though. I'm also not sure how many items we got already. So, yeah, 2 items already? Okay. So, yeah, so this makes sense. 2 items already. You don't bother checking the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, you know, and there are also some other logics. There's a lot of key logic in this dungeon that I am not familiar with, and he may be able to limit what he knows Cold Stare could have just by what he's gotten already. So he might say, oh, there's a pretty good chance it's an item.
You might be able to. It's pretty hard at this point, at that point already, because without the iced tea chest as well, it's hard to know the rest of the logic there. That being said, the fact that I don't believe he got the big key makes it a little bit more likely that Cold Stare had something. It wasn't a small key, at least, but g3rd0, on the other hand, executes his bomb jump and uses the boots bomb to jump a hole and is charging his way through. So yeah, so this is going to come down now to where does Yagamoth check? And if it's not Village of Outcast, does it have the mirror? We may see Yagamoth get the Smith's Tempered Sword here, actually. Although, chances are, he won't get to that before he finds the book, so I mostly take that back immediately. Meyer area check makes sense. Although I'm not sure how much I like a Meyer area check as a one-off at this point, but although maybe it's not a one-off, maybe we're diving Meyer with that medallion check. I'm not sure. Okay, we're not diving Meyer. g3rd0 finishing off 1 puff almost immediately there. Very nice. Couple slashes.
Needs to be careful. 2 more hits, and it's not going to be a fun time for him.
1 down. 1 more slash? No, it's a few more. Maybe this is... Okay, there we go. There we go. It's done. Yagamoth does this. So there's a good chance here that we are going to be finding the book here fairly shortly. He should be checking Village of Outcasts after the check, I would imagine.
Yeah, so Cold Stare is very fast with Tempered Sword. I think when you get to Master Sword, it's like 84 hits.
Yeah,
that may be exaggerated.
The only boss that there's a couple bosses that endgame bosses that feel awful with the Master Sword, namely all 3 of the last 3. Vitreous difference between Master Sword and Tempered Sword feels awful. Trinex feels awful with Master Sword, which is why, of course, we use Hammer Strats on Trinex a lot of the time with Master Sword. And Cold Stare is not fun with Master Sword either. Now, granted, part of the reason that Cold Stare feels really nice with the Tempered Sword is because it's very easy to lock him into the fact that his puffs are almost dead by the time they get out and about. Whereas the Master Sword does not do that. You basically chunk off over half of their health, if not just immediately kill Cold Stare puffs by the time that they even go anywhere with Tempered Sword. And here we go. So Yagamoth will be in Go mode as g3rd0 enters his last dungeon. So we are real close here.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be really interesting because Yagamoth is going to blow through desert much quicker than Turtle Rock for g3rd0, because really Turtle Rock does not get much faster when you're in Go mode, because you still really got to check all the chests to get keys.
Yeah, we do know from the layout, because we know that there was, I believe it was the map in the vanilla big key chest. We know that as long as g3rd0 checks the big chest, which did have a small key, he will skip Laser Bridge almost definitely. There is no reason for him to go to Laser Bridge because he's in Go mode, and he should sequence break that one key from the vanilla big key location.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he has silver. If he didn't have silvers, it may be a different story. But
True.
you know, it's not that big of a difference of time for Master Sword Silver. Maybe a minute or two, but he's not going to keep searching and waste more time searching.
Basically, you have the safeties you need to make the fight fairly manageable without having to be very safe. Because with Blue Mail and 14 Hearts, you're at a point where you're decently manageable in the first place. Versus if we were looking at something like, if we were looking at Master Sword Green Mail, 10 Hearts, you go, well, maybe I search for a little bit more safety. But that being said, these runners are, depending on how practiced they are on their Master Sword strats, may not even need anything. Once they're Master Sword, they're like, well, we're good. Yagamoth charges off to Lanmola's. g3rd0, of course, still on the first floor of Turtle Rock here. There goes the stairs. And as g3rd0 gets to... The one problem about doing Turtle Rock last is the fact that there's so little you can do to speed up this first portion of it. It's all auto-scroller. Doesn't matter what you have, you're going the same speed through the tubes and on the platforms, regardless of what your motion is like, what your movement is like. Gonna pick up some anti-fairies. I get actual fairies. Powder came in useful this seed, for one of our runners at least.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Powder, I think, is most useful in Turtle Rock, and I would say Thieves Town if you're going in really early and you have, you know, Green Mail and 5 Hearts and...
Yeah. Yeah, definitely lots of places. It's funny how anti-fairies get more and more available for use as you go further in the game.
So, one of our runners has just obtained the 7th crystal. We play a little game here. You want to tell them about the game?
Sure. So, of course, in this game, we are trying to take a guess at where the big key is in Ganis Tower. There are 22 possible locations where that big key can be. So anyone who would like to, as the guesses are already flowing in, get your guesses from 1 to 22 in the chat for where you think that location is going to be. Do you have a favorite location yourself there, Cobb?
Right now, the vanilla map room, because I found it there today.
Good times. I always go with number 8, which is typically not there, unless I guess you're doing Dark Magician strats, it could be there. But I like number 8. Your firebar room where the big key never seems to be, so I don't know why I keep choosing it. Or of course the first room in the Stalfos room with the right side play. Or sometimes Bob Chest. Or sorry, it wouldn't be Bob Chest, but actually the first ISR chest with a full right side. But you don't see that play very, very often at all. Yeah, so we now have full confirmation, so Yagamoth is just a little bit ahead. We're probably in the range of 30 seconds-ish, depending on how well g3rd0 might be even a little bit more than 30 seconds, depending on how well g3rd0 executes the rest of the fight.
Yeah, this could very well come down to the right or left side play.
Or any play.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a Moldorm fall, it could be anything.
Yeah, it could even just be general execution at this point, especially with just Master Sword. There's lots of ability to make different plays through this tower at this point. Unless we find a Tempered Sword in the tower. We still don't know where the 4th sword is, we only know where 3 of them are. Well, the shovel not going to be useful. The mirror is going to be useful.
Mirror is going to be very useful, like right now.
Like right now. So now Yagamoth being very happy that he found that book when he did, because he now knows that that was the only option he had to get into Desert Palace. g3rd0 will probably be somewhat similarly happy, but he sort of had the book so early that it was never really his concern. Whereas Yagamoth, of course, was in go mode except for the book for quite a while.
Yeah, and it actually looks like g3rd0 is going to be about 56 to 58 seconds behind entering Ganon's tower.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, but hey, good execution in the gauntlet along this. You can make up 2 minutes on a runner.
Oh, definitely, for sure. Especially, like I said, because we're on Master Sword, there's so much little things you can do to optimize. You can hit enemies into spikes to kill enemies that would normally take 2 or 3 slashes with 1. You can use your silver. You can pull out the silver arrows. You can pull out the fire rod. g3rd0, of course, having that half magic as an advantage could matter in this climb if he decides to use fire rod on the way up. Little things like that.
Absolutely, you know, and while Yagamoth's execution has been near flawless, g3rd0 has kind of shown that he may have a little bit of practice with Master Sword strats.
Yeah, that for sure.
This ain't over yet, folks.
See what there it is.
But there is the big key.
That's chest 10, I believe. And a Tempered Sword.
Oh, that's huge. That is so big. Because g3rd0 might, depending on what order he opens the chest. Usually it's bottom left first because of how you dash.
Yeah, but there are some runners who do bottom right, and then there, of course, it's just the fact that you can sort of do whatever, and then there's if he does the same thing that Yagamoth did, which there's a decent chance, because of course when you're on Blue Mail and Master Sword, there's at least 2 items, the Red Mail and the last and another sword. Well, 3 really in both these runners' cases, because they're both looking for 2 swords.
Yep, those mimic rooms though, wow.
And there it is. So he finds the tempered, and he doesn't even open the last chest. Just proves that he was just he wanted to make sure that sword wasn't right there, and it was.
I don't want to talk about that, MJ. I skipped a chest looking for the big key earlier today. Without even knowing.
That happens too.
So, by my completely unofficial count, it actually looks like g3rd0 has made up about 10 to 15 seconds so far.
All right. And of course, going through here is where one of the biggest differences can come. The Yaga does pull off a one cycle on the Landmolas. It was close, but he got there. Of course, Tempered Sword just makes this gauntlet so much easier. It one-shots pretty much every enemy in here. That's not a boss. Ooh.
Right? I mean, simple things like that, you know, just nerves, you know.
And got the dash too soon somehow, too.
Yep, you know, it's just, I can tell you that right now, both of these runners are looking over at their computer screen every 3 to 5 seconds, waiting for that done.
Yeah. Yeah, both runners trolled to some degree by an item. It's actually interesting because the fact that g3rd0 was actually in go mode so much longer than Yagamoth was, but Yagamoth, of course, just did the clear crystal dungeons, and like we mentioned at the very start, there wasn't a lot of difference in the crystal dungeons aside from Ice Palace if you'd full cleared it. And so that's where Yagamoth really, that's Yagamoth's biggest gamble that's currently leading him into Seed, was to not try to look for the last item in Ice Palace.
Yeah, but if you notice, g3rd0 is, what is it, 3 or 4 rooms behind? He is...
Yeah, he's on the warpath.
Yeah. He has made up some ground, and
Yagamoth... Switch to the hookshot, Yagamoth. Do it. Oh, there it is!
Oh my gosh!
We are almost tied. We are essentially... g3rd0's what? 5 to 10 seconds back now before we see whatever this... However these two more Moldorm fights turn out. That was a poke.
That was a poke. Oh,
there's another poke.
He was very smart. He did a second poke to equal a slash. Very smart. If he had not and done a sword spin...
So there we are. Yeah, basically no difference between these two now. 5 seconds? Pretty much 5, give or take 5 seconds.
Yeah, so g3rd0 has already made up almost like 50 seconds. So Yagamoth's got to have a great Aga too. g3rd0 has just done this exact setup so many times. Well, green mail, but I mean, he's a 125 NMG runner, so he's done this probably 5,000 times.
Oh, that's not bad for a triple setup. Let's see if he can make it work. Oh, except he got blue balled, so it would have been a triple, but blue balls.
g3rd0 having a little bit of trouble. I apologize if the commentator curse just happened. Oh, but he gets a triple.
Triple that, unfortunately, wasn't the kill, but, you know, does that put him 1 away? Does. They're in the cutscene at the same time.
So yeah, so this can still come down to, even Yaga's gonna have a little bit of a couple second head start. This can come down to, can they go 1-1 on phase 1 and 2?
Yeah.
And doubles, triple, silvers, all sorts of things. But yeah,
and that of course was a 2 cycle for Yaga on the first phase there.
Yep, and g3rd0's might be setting up for the 1 cycle.
That's close. That should be. That might have it. It does.
Yep, he does. Wow.
And I think he's
That
got the
is
1 and 1.
huge. I don't think that what he has here is a 1 though. I think.
Yep,
oh, it
1
is.
and 1.
Oh my gosh, they are pretty much. They are synced up.
No, Yaga's 1 hit ahead.
Oh, is he? Oh, you're right. You're right. He is 1 hit ahead. This is going to come down to silver arrows.
Yeah.
Torch glitches, all sorts of crazy things.
It may come down to a triple on the first hit here, and that's not going to be triple worthy. You almost don't want the torch glitch. You almost want to just, and that's not going to be a double either. Most likely, maybe it is.
Oh
no, it's not.
So close. Is he going to go for the? No, there is a triple.
g3rd0 did not get it either. Yaga is finished again. So as long as he doesn't jump off the edge here, it is Yaga's win.
But no, we gotta see, because if this is 3 seconds apart, it is a tie.
That's true. And Yagamoth walks to the door with the official SRTV time of 1:20:53. g3rd0 through the door with an official time of 1:20:57. 4-second difference.
Oh, wow. Wow. Now, they may scroll back the video, to see if maybe it was 3 seconds and, I don't know. This is crazy.
I think that's the reason for the 3-second difference in the first place, is to sort of give that allowance for if timers were set off. I'm not. That being said, that's not. I have not directly heard that. That's my own musing on it. So don't. If I'm wrong, don't hold me to that. But I believe that's the reason for the 3-second difference in the first place.
That was insane. It looks like we have Yagamoth that might be joining us here in a second.
Yeah, it looks like I think we've got both of them. Just getting a quick sound check there, but yeah. So what a race! Come down to that difference there. GG g3rd0.
No, GG.
Dude, that was insane.
And Yaga's here as well. GG Yagamoth.
GG, good evening.
Oh, g3rd0, 4 seconds.
Yeah. Almost another tie. I also had one in the previous round. It's crazy.
Well, and were you guys watching the end of it on the restream?
Yeah, I wasn't watching.
Oh, okay.
Watching, yeah.
Well, so Yaga knows what happened there. So basically, entering Ganon's Tower, g3rd0, you were give or take a minute behind. And you guys basically did the same routing. And like you saved a chest in the rando room because you went clockwise around them, so you ended up getting the tempered sword and just stopped, whereas Yaga got it on his lat. But the rest of it was just small execution things that almost and Yaga fell on Trolldorn. But no, it was one heck of a race to watch. You guys were in very different go modes as well. What do you guys think overall?
That was a potentially really fast read, I guess. Just a bit awkward without the mirror.
Yeah.
Like, I had everything but the ice rod really early, and then it was just looking for the ice rod, and for some reason I delayed Palace of Darkness a lot.
That means you could have gotten like almost a sub 1 hour time if you went immediately pod, I guess.
Not sub 1 hour, I don't think.
No, because he was in. Yeah, he would have saved his Smith check, but that would have cost him a sword. Whereas of course, Yaga, you got your second sword on Laser Bridge.
Right, I see.
So there was a little bit there, and g3rd0 was in go mode he was in go mode like possibly 15-20 minutes ahead of you, but he was behind by terms of he was behind because you were doing the crystal dungeons and found the book fast enough to maintain the lead that you built from just doing crystal dungeons.
I see. Yeah, basically it felt like there was no need to check going to the Village of Outcast until the very last time. And for g3rd0, I guess it was that the ice rod is missing. That thing can be anywhere, so
Yep.
you kind of want to do efficient routing checks.
And of course, the book in the mirror could have been almost anywhere too, so you had the same problem. Well, the mirror, at least the mirror cuts off a lot of locations that you can't check when you don't have it. It's the one nice thing about not finding the mirror.
I was actually almost hoping that there would be no mirror in Ganon's tower, just so I would have that potential advantage, but at the same time, I would have also lost a lot of time if there was a mirror, if g3rd0 found it earlier, because it makes it much more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with that key and rando room, getting out would not be fun.
Yeah, that would take a while.
Either take a while to die, or I don't even know.
I already tried to take damage on the way up to Death Mountain, just kind of running into the Lionels and stuff.
Yeah.
But there was not much opportunity on that.
No. The other thing I was thinking about was the fact that Yagamoth. How disappointed were you when you found the fire rod and the King of Samaria in there, and then went, shoot, I have to save and quit, and then walk all the way up the mountain again.
Yeah, that was... I just really thought, maybe I should go up on Turtle Rock, and I thought, nah, what are the chances?
What are the chances?
And there's 2 items missing still for me to clear Turtle Rock. I would have dipped into it just without the fire rod, even if I could have, but at the same time, King of Samaria, where would that be? I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm like, Yaga's going to be real disappointed about, especially since we knew that you checked the medallion first. We're like, he's going to be real disappointed about 10 seconds here when he finishes opening all the chests in Hookshot.
Yeah.
Because g3rd0 had done that. g3rd0 did that immediately on the Titan's Mitts. Is that the first thing you did with the Titan's Mitts, g3rd0?
I think I went just to Dark Death Mountain first.
Yeah.
With it.
So of course he didn't have the ice rod at that point, which I assume would have made Turtle Rock less of a dip for you. I have no idea. Would you have just done Turtle Rock if without the ice rod? If you'd had the mirror, would you have done Turtle Rock the first time up there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I really don't like dipping Turtle Rock early without ice rod.
And that makes sense. I wasn't really expecting it, but I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, that sounds really close. Holy cow.
Yeah, just all the small mistakes I made just flashing through my head that could have saved me 1 second, and I guess those happened on both sides, so it's just how it is.
And I'm trying to remember what I was talking about at the very start. Oh yeah, it was who save and quit at the very start after. Was it you, g3rd0, who save and quit to go to Kakariko from the south?
Yeah, because I had no bombs, and if you have no bombs but 50 rupees, better to do that.
Yeah, and we're like, who knows? Maybe that was part of the difference. But that changes so much in little pieces of routing that I don't actually know how the timing difference works on that.
I think that actually saved him time by doing that.
It's definitely faster. Hot tip to all the viewers who want to improve their game. Unless you're crazy and you gamble on bombs in the first 4 chests.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how.
You know.
I wasn't sure because you guys actually had rupees that seed. Like you were already at 100-something rupees by the time you got to that point. Actually, you might even be 150, 160 because of the bush crab. So I'm like, well, you already have all the money you need, so you can gamble on the bottle vendor having the bombs potentially. See if he has them, and if they don't, you just go down and buy bombs, so on and so forth. But I don't know the timing for these things. I just sort of theory craft them and never test them.
The safe play is doing what I did, pretty much.
Yeah. Now with that, do you guys already have your second race scheduled?
Yeah, it's tomorrow at the same time, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Alright, so of course anyone who enjoyed this race, we know where you guys know when the second one is now. So if you think if you think we're gonna have another nice run back of another 120 seed, you know, tune in tomorrow at 3:30 for more racing between Yagamoth and g3rd0. Wherever that's gonna be, I don't think it's probably decided yet. But any other final thoughts here before we let you guys go?
Just thanks to you guys for commentating, and shoutouts to Vandred65. And that's all.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say. GG, thank you for tracking, for streaming and commentating. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, so of course, if you guys did enjoy this race, as well as coming back to see them tomorrow, do consider giving them a follow as well. g3rd0 and Yagamoth both put on a fantastic race for us today.
Don't consider it. Just do it.
Just do it. Okay, just do it.
You won't regret it.
Also, thank you, of course, to our tracker, Michael K, for keeping us on track today. Thank you to the Speed Gaming channels. There are 6 of those that are heavily... Do consider using those.